It started innocently enough. A baby's laughter, so pure, so infectious, it could brighten the darkest day. For Lily, it was the sound that kept her going. Her little boy, Jamie, was her world, and every giggle felt like a reward for all the sleepless nights and endless diaper changes. But laughter can be unsettling when it's directed at something you can't see. At first, Lily dismissed it. Babies laugh at anything, she told herself. A shadow, a flicker of light, or even a thought only they can understand. But this was different. Jamie's laughter was specific, directed, as if someone unseen were performing a comedy act just for him. It began one late afternoon. Jamie was playing on the living room floor, surrounded by his toys. Lily watched from the couch, her tired eyes softening at the sight of her happy baby. Then Jamie's focus shifted. His gaze locked onto the far corner of the room. There was nothing there, just a blank wall and a small decorative shelf. But Jamie's laughter erupted, loud and joyous, as if he'd seen the funniest thing in the world. Lily frowned, but shook it off. Babies are strange, she thought. They're still discovering the world. Maybe he saw a shadow, or his imagination was running wild. Yet, as the days passed, it became a pattern. Every time Jamie sat in the living room, he would inevitably fixate on that corner. His giggles grew louder, his clapping more enthusiastic. And always it was that same corner. At night it was worse. The baby monitor crackled softly as Lily lay in bed, desperate for sleep. Jamie's laughter would pierce the quiet, pulling her from the brink of rest. She grabbed the monitor and watched the screen, her heart pounding. There he was, sitting up in his crib, staring at the corner of his room, laughing at something she couldn't see. She told herself it was a phase. Babies are strange little creatures, after all. But the unease lingered. It wasn't just the laughter. It was the way he looked at the corners, as if someone was really there. The sense of dread gnawed at her, growing stronger each night. One day, Lily decided to investigate. She rearranged the furniture, moved lamps, even painted the corner a different color. Nothing changed. Jamie's laughter continued, always directed at the same spot. Then, one evening, as she carried him past the corner, he twisted in her arms, reaching out toward it, giggling uncontrollably. Lily froze, a chill running down her spine. Late that night, she found herself spiraling down an internet rabbit hole. Stories of children seeing things adults couldn't. Ghosts, spirits, imaginary friends that weren't so imaginary. Most were harmless tales, but others, the darker ones, made her stomach turn. She tried to dismiss them, but the knot in her chest tightened. A few days later, things escalated. It was late, and the house was silent except for the soft hum of the baby monitor. Jamie's laughter broke through, louder than ever. Lily sat up, heart pounding. She grabbed the monitor and stared at the screen. Her breath caught. A shadow moved in the corner of Jamie's room, a faint, drifting outline. It wasn't a trick of the light. It wasn't the wind. The shadow moved deliberately, as though it had intent. The next morning, Lily set up a camera in Jamie's room, pointing directly at the corner. She reviewed the footage the following day, her hands trembling as she pressed play. At first, everything was normal. Jamie slept peacefully in his crib. Then, around midnight, the shadow appeared. It was faint, barely there, but it moved. Not on the wall, but in the air. It lingered for a moment before fading away. Lily's stomach churned. This was no illusion. She reached out to her best friend, Sarah, desperate for reassurance. Sarah laughed it off, telling Lily she was overthinking things. It's probably just a weird light or something, she said. But Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The footage was undeniable. Lily's unease grew into obsession. She spent hours researching, reading about haunted objects, residual energy, and protective rituals. She bought sage and candles, determined to cleanse the house of whatever was causing this. One evening, she lit the sage, letting the smoke waft through every room. When she reached the living room, Jamie giggled again, his eyes locked on the corner. Lily's hands trembled as she held the burning sage.
You're not welcome here. Leave my home.
She whispered, her voice shaky. The room grew colder. The shadows seemed to deepen. Jamie stopped laughing, his expression shifting to one of confusion. The sage's flame flickered violently, then went out. The silence was deafening. For a moment, Lily thought it had worked, but then she saw it. The shadow moved again, darker and more defined than before. Desperate, Lily sought professional help. She contacted a paranormal investigator, a man in his 50s who carried an air of quiet confidence. When he arrived, he walked the house with a strange device that beeped and flashed in the living room corner. There's definitely something here, he said, his voice grim. It's not just energy, it's intelligent. He set up cameras and audio recorders, promising to gather evidence. That night, Lily stayed at a friend's house, too afraid to sleep under the same roof as whatever haunted her home. The next day, the investigators showed her the footage. Shadows moved, whispers echoed, and a rhythmic tapping sound emanated from the corner. It was chilling. This house has history, the investigator explained. Years ago, a man lived here alone. Neighbors said he talked to someone who wasn't there. One day, he disappeared. The police found his diary. He wrote about a presence in this very corner. Lily felt the air leave her lungs. The pieces fell into place. Jamie's laughter, the moving shadows, the cold spots. It wasn't just a coincidence. Determined to end the nightmare, Lily decided to confront it one last time. She waited until Jamie was asleep, then stood in the living room, armed with sage and a crucifix. Her heart pounded as she began the cleansing ritual, her voice trembling with every word.
You're not welcome here. Leave this place and never return.
The room grew colder. The shadows in the corners seemed to shift, coalescing into a darker form. Lily's breath hitched as the shadow stretched toward her, a silent, menacing entity. She held her ground, chanting louder. The sage burned brighter, filling the room with smoke. Jamie's cries echoed from the baby monitor, piercing and desperate. The shadow writhed, retreating inch by inch, until it dissolved into the wall. The room grew still. Lily dropped to her knees, clutching the crucifix, tears streaming down her face. The next morning, the house felt different. Lighter. The oppressive weight was gone. Jamie played on the living room floor, oblivious to the events of the previous night. For the first time in weeks, he didn't laugh at the corner. Lily exhaled, relief washing over her. But some shadows never truly disappear. Every now and then, late at night, Lily would catch herself glancing at the corner, half expecting to see it move again. And though Jamie had stopped laughing at it, he still stared at it sometimes, his expression unreadable. Some things are better left unseen, Lily realized. But she would always remember, laughter can hide something far more sinister.